This is going to be my 6 month in review. This is kind of going to be a little discussion on some of the things I think that went rather well, some of the things I'd like to improve, and more or less just a recap of some of the hindsight, I guess you could say. I mean, obviously I'm not going to go into some of the details that I have done in other videos, just more of, 6 months. What are we at? So I suppose the first thing I'm going to mention is how I wish that I had a second overflow for the fish tank. I did make do with the best that I can with one, and it's for the most part satisfactory. However, it could be improved. So any future builds that I do, including on this, I'd like to eventually have, a second overflow. And I suggest if you were to build one of these yourself, just do the work, just get it done, you won't regret it. Yeah, so I suppose we're going to talk about some of the problems up front first. I might as well go right into the whole seeding aspect. Again, I got to learn how to seed things. I'm getting the impression that I should probably seed not in the system itself, but in some sort of external device type thing. And probably the most frustrating thing that it is for me to see is how easy everybody else that has done it makes it sound. Like I'm completely missing something here. But at the same time, it could be just like one little variable that is important, that is being easily overlooked or not, put forth, that isn't being done, and that's why it's all failing. So I just gotta keep giving. I gotta keep doing it. Now right now I have 2 holes in the bottom of these tanks to basically splice them into one. And then I have the line siphon on this side to provide the flooding and draining. Now, the cons that I'm kind of figuring with this is it doesn't give me accessibility into the grow bed, even though my original goal was to maximize the amount of grow space that I had. It works, but not bulletproof. I want to make these things so, basically anybody that, on a low level of maintenance can be able to maintain their own system. And right now this, because I have had to get into here and deal with root issues and stuff. I'm still learning these things, right? I want to be able to make sure that, in the future, if you want me to engineer a system for you and build it for you and whatever else, you can be rest assured confident that, yeah, I kind of know what I'm talking about and what I'm doing. These are the way that I'm solving it. And I'm being very, very open to you guys about it. So what I would do is, it would be kind of an odd, irregular shaped container, but on it would come out a bit, just enough that I'd put a bell siphon. I'd have like a screen mesh of some sorts, just big enough or small enough for all the rock stuff to not to be able to go through it. And what that'll do is it'll give me a nice little clean area, if you will, to manage and maintain my siphons. Like any problems that I have with my siphon, I'd be able to have instant access to it, and it would legitimately, I'd be able to pull it right out of the system and work on it. Where this one here, it's effectively all glued together. It works, but I can't really do anything to it other than look at it. I mean, if I had to make any adjustments to it, which I don't need to, I'd have to basically rebuild a new one, which wouldn't be good. Well, it wouldn't be ideal. If I were able to build my own custom tanks, I would actually be able to engineer my sump tank to maximize the amount of space that I have down there, basically making it so I have more volume down there. Because when I think about adding more to this system, I have to keep in mind that 100% of the water has to fit in the fish tank and the sump tank. So all the extra water that's coming has to go somewhere, and the sump tank has to be able to do that. Now, I think I can get away with 2 vertical towers with this system, but it's maxed out. So some of the positive things I can definitely speak of is, even though I had some issues getting seeding going, it definitely proves that it does work. I keep saying, things will grow like a weed, and I have surely think I've seen that, like that kale plant and that broccoli plant, once it really got going, it went. And in fact, I just didn't have enough space. But that's a good thing, because in much larger systems, it just goes to show, I'm seeing other people's aquaponics systems, and they have enormously, the huge, kale plants. They're like 7 feet tall. I mean, it's absurd. So, I mean, realistically, it's still a small-sized aquaponics system. You know, this is more probably, I should probably call it more of a herb garden than anything. Like I have the onions in there. They're not doing too great, but we'll see, right? The fish, you know, they seem to be happy. I think as far as stocking density goes, there's still potential room for me to increase that density some, but I'm not going to do that now because I don't really have the biofilters to support that just yet. I would love to be able to find a carpenter or somebody that's really good with woodworking. Right now this is all metal and stuff like that. It looks alright in my opinion because it's a prototype metal functional unit. However, it would be really nice even for me to be able to somehow turn this enclosure into something a little more cosmetic. So I was thinking, you know, I could like, you know, put a board or something and some doors, but if I built it, it wouldn't look very good. It wouldn't look good at all, actually. I mean, it would be. I mean, who knows? If I had all the proper tools and the proper space to build it and really think it out, I'm sure I could probably put something together. I don't doubt that, but with the limited tools and space that I have to do such a project, I realistically cannot, you know, do that. So anybody out there in Kelowna, you know, that's like, hey, you know, I like what you're doing, I want to help you out, you know, get a hold of me. Leave a message in the comments. You know, we'll figure it out. What did this all cost me? Now, I have all my receipts. They're sitting over there. I gotta admit, I don't want to look at them. So, as much as I think it would be a good idea to give you the exact price of all the little components that it took to build this thing, I don't think that would be an absolute fair representation of what this thing actually would cost with somebody with experience that knows how to build one now. Because there's a lot of things that I just, you know, this is what I need. Nope, that didn't work. I gotta go get this. You know what I mean? So, I mean, just to, like, I'm sure the thing cost me at least 2G. 2 grand. I'm pretty sure. And that does not include tools. So, could I make it cheaper? Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I mean, for little examples, like even this little thermostat, I think I paid like $20 or something like that for it. There are cheaper thermostats that I could have gotten. And I looked at them, but I didn't want something that just floats around the tank that I, you know, pick up. I wanted something that was up front and visible, that looks good. Whatever, it's $20. It's what I wanted. You know, again, rehashing on these metal shelves. I didn't need to get them. There were other, probably even simpler ways to quote-unquote solve that without putting out, I think I spent like $130 on them. The shelves. I actually have 2 shelving units, and I think I paid, I want to say about $120 a piece. I think, maybe a little less. And I only used the second bit for the top bit. So I actually have a box that's basically unopened. I only squeezed out a couple of things that I needed to get out of it. So I basically have mostly another shelf sitting waiting for future expansion. So yeah, that's going to add to the overall cost of this thing, even though it's not necessarily part of its function rate as of yet. But yeah, like, as far as like the core cost of like the very core essentials, you know, the fish tank, I think I spent $170 on that, which I would say is what it is. I think there could potentially be cheaper options out there, but I wanted to make sure that I got the right size tank for this fitting. I didn't want to get something that was too small or whatever. You know, again, getting into custom building of tanks, it'd be cheaper, you know, when you look at it from a material standpoint, but it'll be more expensive from, you know, having the space to actually build them in. So to justify that, I would obviously need to build more than just a tank or 2. Future business I want to get into, I guess. If I were to guesstimate, if I were to rebuild this entire thing all over again, or one for you, I would still look at least $1,000, at least $1,000 for the core components, at least. And even then, I'd probably suggest to you to budget about $1,500 just to be sure, you know. And then that doesn't include my time and costs, labor time, and that's something I don't know how to put a price on. You know, obviously the first person that comes to me, I'm going to be quite generous on this because this could be the second time I build something. You know, it's just continuing to my learning experience. All that I'd probably ask out of you is we're going to document it. It's going to be YouTube videos on it, and I'm going to use that as marketing, as, you know, whatever else. Because at some point, I'm going to want to build warehouses, and, you know, taking apart old schools and malls and just revamping entire neighborhoods with this sort of technology. So I got to start somewhere. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to view and watch my video. I hope that it has satisfied your curiosity, and I hope you've learned stuff from it. And the best way you can actually help me now is to actually simply like and subscribe. I know you hear that on a lot of YouTube videos and whatnot, but it matters because that's what feeds us YouTube contenters in a sense. I mean, yeah, a lot of YouTube channels make revenue off their ads and stuff, and in order for them to get deals, they need subscriptions and, you know, likes and stuff to, you know, so they can justify the expense of you know, paying for that advertising space. But keep in mind, I'm not doing that with my project. I'm not likely going to be making money directly off these videos. This is solely my education being documented, and at the same time I'm hoping it's also an educational tool for you so you can learn what I'm doing and how you may want to do it for yourself. So again, not making money on it. Like and subscribe because that helps inflate my ego. You know, the more likes and views and comments and whatever else, it'll drive me, it'll fuel me. It'll give me something, you know, like social acceptance, if you will, on the process of it. So that'll help me a lot.